Steve. You doing well yourself?
Howdy.
I was leaving a scared paper.
Been pretty.
Yeah, you're not very
Paper I have.
Oh, Steve.
Yes.
Is that Steve?
Getting
Howdy.
hit by you
Could
anyway.
you, are you, could you, come with me
Yes,
and
you
Miss
did.
Payne into the
That's
judge's chambers real quick? Well, are you okay to be called,
Sure.
Steve?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, that's all I needed to know. I guess I could do that vague.
You all may be
Maybe
seated.
seated.
Alright. Today, we have the felony assault with a deadly weapon charge against Mr. Walker, levied by the town of Silverton. Mr. Walker, how do you plead to these charges?
Not guilty.
Alright. Well, if there's nothing else then, Miss Faith, if you may start with your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kind of new at this, so apologize if I do anything wrong. Yesterday, Chris Walker injured quite a few people, and all in the pursuit of making people think that this town was corrupt. And I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I know for a fact that it's... I do think that he needs to be punished for hurting so many people. And, sorry, like I said, this is new to me. I'm kind of nervous.
It's alright, take a breath. Everyone's a little nervous their first time.
Well, I do have a few pieces of evidence that we confiscated from Mr. Walker.
Would you like to present that now?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead and present any physical evidence you have to my bailiff.
Right. List of
Alright, thank you.
Faith, there's one more right here.
I also have a witness statement.
Alright, we'll finish your opening statement first and then we'll get to witness statements and the like.
Well, to be honest, I just think this man is dangerous. And I think that many people saw that yesterday. I really think that this man needs to be helped, I guess you could say. That's
Anything else? Alright, if there's nothing else to the opening statement, Then, Mr. Walker, you may begin your opening statement.
Thank you.
Ow!
Your Honor, I'd like to state proceedings that happened yesterday started off with me waking up in my house, illegally searched and seized by the mayor, the sheriff, the deputy, while I was asleep. Continued on in a very lawless manner, fired, including shooting me in the back with several times, critically wounded. I did react accordingly. I know I don't have an excuse for how I reacted. Time I wasn't clearly, and I don't would be in that situation if they had been shot in the back by the mayor of Silverton himself. At that point, say other than the hearsay of what she thinks I am is necessarily the facts of who I was. A deputy. I was come to by her to do illegal activities. I alerted her and the mayor of these activities.
Objection, Your Honor.
Shot in the process.
On what grounds? This is
Relevance.
his opening statement.
It's an opening statement, sir. This has nothing to do.
I do.
How is it relevant to the case?
Hey, talk to me, not each other. My courtroom.
Your Honor, I believe the relevance of my statement is to prove the character of both the people opposing me.
Well, this is an opening statement. My concern is with the case at hand. So please try to stay on topic.
Of course, Your Honor. What I'm trying to do is lead up to the case at hand and what caused and transpired those events.
All right. Is that your opening statement then?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
All right. Miss Faith, then you may call your first witness.
My first witness is Lieutenant Steve. He was in the building when it happened.
All right. Other side. Oh, there. I guess there's no.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, there you go.
Please state your name for the court, sir.
Lieutenant Steve West.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I swear.
Lieutenant Steve, would you mind telling these people what you saw when you entered the building? I know that you were not in there when it started, but what you saw when you walked in.
Yes. Before I entered, I did hear a few things. Once I entered, I saw Mr. Walker here shooting several individuals. I saw him shooting Faith. I saw him shooting at the judge and at the sheriff, or the deputy, rather.
And you said you heard some things from outside?
That's right.
Did you hear Mr. Walker state that there would be a reckoning?
That's right. Not only did he say that there was a reckoning, but he said that he was going to attack the people of the town here.
And you are a field medic, correct?
That is correct.
So when you walked inside and saw that people were injured, what state would you say that those people were in exactly?
They were incapacitated. They received gunshot wounds. They needed immediate medical attention, to which Nathan Morgan and myself brought the people to the infirmary, to which Nathan provided more medical care.
And, in your opinion, would you say that this man was, of the right mind when this was happening?
Actually, I asked him myself when I handed him his gun if he was of sound mind, to which he replied very calmly that he was. You see, he was receiving medical care in the infirmary before the incident. I had his firearm, and I was waiting until he stated very clearly that he had sound mind, which leads me to believe that he was premeditating the attack.
First off, I'd like to say thank you for your testimony. Let's start off. One of the things you had said was I was in the infirmary. Are you aware of what happened, why I was in the...
Yes, sir.
Would you mind letting the court...
Objection, Your Honor.
On what grounds?
Relevance to the case at hand again.
Again, Your Honor, this is going to show the story that led up to the event that transpired. I think it's...
I'll allow it.
Just so I know what I'm speaking about, what events did these prior events lead up to?
I do apologize, Lieutenant. Ask you a direct question. Why was I in the infirmary? Are you aware of why?
You were in the infirmary because you received a gunshot wound, several gunshot wounds.
Was that a gunshot wound to the back by the mayor, or...
You received several gunshot wounds to the front and back of the torso, as far as I can tell.
And are you aware of who shot those shots?
The individual who shot you was...
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Please try to keep it to the events of this court case. The matter that you're referring to was handled last evening in another
Fair
court
enough, Your Honor.
case.
Fair enough. Last question, Steve, is I had mentioned, or you had mentioned to Faith that you heard things outside, but when you came, the shots had already been fired. Are you aware of who actually initiated the firing, or were you outside when that happened?
I was outside when the first shots were fired, but the last words that were spoken were threats from your mouth. And then the shouts of alarm from Mayor Payne, who was unaware of those incoming shots.
Of course, but you are aware, though, that the wife of Mayor Payne was sitting in that office as well. Maybe she was a little upset.
All I'm aware of is that
So-
you were issuing threats before the firing occurred.
But you never actually saw who fired the first shot, so it could have very well been Sheriff Payne.
Again, I can only speak about what I've seen or heard. And as I heard, you issued threats and announced that you were going to indeed attack the people of the town and the officials.
Of course, I understand your statement, but First Amendment does cover of speech, cover me attack. You did not see the actual attack transpire initially. I understand why the...
When I
Objection,
entered,
Your Honor.
when I entered the room,
Hey! Objection's been called. On what grounds?
It's badgering the witness by repeatedly asking the same question.
Sustained. Please change up your questions. They've been asked and answered.
Okay, let me ask a very direct question then. Lieutenant Steve, you did not witness the first rounds coming. You did not witness the first shot. So, do you have honest evidence to show that I was the one first shot, or what?
I do.
Able to make the first shot as well.
I do. I'm
What
a
evidence
combat.
is that, sir?
I'm a combat veteran, as both a medic in the military during the Civil War and as somebody who's been bounty hunting for many years, and when I entered that room, not but 5 seconds after the first shots, I saw you reloading, which means that in that amount of time you must have fired off all of your rounds. Do you have any other questions for me?
Yes, sir. If I was not able to carry all 6 rounds in my pistol at the time, would I not be reloading to protect myself? Some people aren't military, sir. I wasn't combat trained. May not have been ready at the time. See that could be a problem?
I'm the one who handed you a fully loaded pistol before the shootout. So I would know how many rounds you had before, during, and after the shootout.
Could I have shot 6 rounds, though, and reloaded by the time the first shot hit? Be aware of that.
I know very well how long it takes to unload a weapon on oncoming fire.
And how many bullet wounds did I sustain?
I don't have that answer. I didn't give you medical care after you went down.
Okay, so I could have been very well shot just as many times as you say. My revolver being... So we really don't have a...
I just know how much time you had to fire the rounds, and I know how many rounds you had beforehand. And I saw you reloading when I entered the room.
But without proof of how many times I was shot versus they were shot and everything.
All I'm saying is it's more likely that you shot first based on the amount of time you had and the amount of rounds that you expended.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Thank you so much. I don't more likely stands in court, but I'm no further questions, Your Honor.
Alright. Ms. Faith, do you have any follow-up questions?
No.
Right. Lieutenant, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may call your next witness.
My second witness is Andrew Jensen.
Apologize.
Sir, could you state your name for the court?
Andrew William Jensen.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Alright, you may begin questioning.
Mr. Jensen, you were in the building when the shooting started, correct?
Yes, I was standing behind the cell doors that lead to the holding cells.
So, I'll ask the same question that Mr. Walker asked. You saw who fired off the first shots?
I did. I saw Mr. Walker pull a pistol, where I'm sure, and proceed to fire multiple rounds at at you.
Well, can you please tell the court to the best of your ability all that happened while we were in the sheriff's office?
I was standing guard with Mayor Payne during his 1 hour imprisonment. Whenever you and Mr. Walker stepped to the sheriff's department, he mentioned about a reckoning, along with bringing forth that reckoning, which was then when he drew his pistol and began firing. I was too slow on the draw, trying to get out of the cage. Proceeded to exchange gunfire of various forms, where Mr. Walker then proceeded to run up the stairs, and that is where I found you on the floor and Mr. Walker hiding in a corner, where I proceeded to put a finishing blow before I received a few more of my own injury and proceeded to be incapacitated.
Thank you. And, in your honest opinion, do you think that this man, at the time, well, actually, no, question. Time, do you think that this man was thinking clearly about what he was doing, or that he was maybe not quite all there at the time?
I believe that he is not there. He was not there mentally or in the best frame of mind. Why he was given a loaded firearm, general, is beyond me, but that was not my decision. To answer your question, no, he was not clearly in a good state of mind.
I have no further questions.
Alright. Mr. Walker, you may cross-examine the witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jensen, can I ask you a question? Do you have any personal ill will towards me? Have I done anything?
No, I hold no grudges, although I do personally trust you as a person, but no grudges.
Well, I do know it was because of me you lost that gold badge, right? In the town of Silverton?
I willingly stepped down from that.
But it was due to the actions of that night then present that I was actually deputized, correct?
The night of those actions was a good bit of chaos surrounding it, and I did need as many lawmen as possible. Why you were deputized. As for the events that happened afterwards, I am solely responsible for them. You, on the other hand, have had nothing to do with the decision that I made.
I do apologize, Mr. Jensen. It looks like I got an ear bug. Would you mind saying that again?
You were not personally held responsible for my decisions. Step down as sheriff.
Another question, Mr. Jensen. You were in the law, right? You were sheriff for how long?
Yep. Probably closer to a month, maybe more.
In your honest opinion, Mr. Jensen, if you had just been shot in the back by the mayor that employed you, do you have the right state of mind?
To counter that,
I'm not asking for a counter, Mr. Jensen. I'm asking you for an answer. Would you be speaking in the right state of mind after you were shot in the back?
You and I are two totally different people. We will react differently and accordingly. If I had said even half... Oh, let me finish. If I had said even half of what you did, I would have deserved what had happened. Now, would I have been in the right mind? Yes, very much so. You proved that you were not.
So what you're saying is the mayor that employs you as a deputy of Silverton shoots you in the back several times, be in the right state of mind.
Yes. Believe that.
Objection. Oh.
Objection is called. On what grounds?
This has already been stated by medical professionals that he was in the right state of mind at the time, and by his own words to the previous witness.
Your Honor, it was stated by a field medic with combat training from the Civil War. I'm not going to call into question qualifications, but a field medic is not a medical professional.
Try to keep your questions to... I understand there was some lead up. I was the sitting judge on that. Alright.
Mr. Jensen, during the time of the shooting, you said that you were behind the jail cell, correct?
Yes, I was behind the gate separating the lobby from the jail cell.
Okay, and your main duty at that time was to watch Mayor Payne during his hour of stay, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so your main responsibility wasn't to be watching me, Faith, or anyone who walked into the sheriff's office. It was to maintain coverage over Mayor Payne, who had just committed a felony. Is that correct?
My job was to make sure that the
Yes
mayor
or no,
did not
Mr.
leave his
Yes
cell.
or no, Mr. Jensen? Is that your position at that point?
Objection, Your
Was
Honor.
to watch over him.
On what grounds?
This man seems to be more focused on just defaming my character than defending himself.
No, Your Honor. The relevance of this, find out what Mr. Jensen's official capacity was at the time of the incident, and whether or not he was supposed to be watching Mayor Payne or watching me, Faith. I think that's a pretty good relevance issue.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your
You
Honor.
may continue.
Now again,
My
Mr.
official-
Jensen.
My official,
Your official
capacity
capacity.
was to watch the mayor.
Okay, so do you think that doing your due diligence as an officer and a deputy of Silverton at the time, and your official capacity to be watching Mayor Payne, could have missed who fired the first shot during that encounter?
No, because I was looking directly at you. I was standing between caged cell door and the holding cell. Mr. Payne tried to escape. He would have run directly into me before even reaching the door. I positioned myself that way to both keep an eye on him and to watch the front door should somebody try to enter.
But you said in your own words, your official capacity was to watch Mr. Felony hour in jail, correct?
My official capacity was to keep him supervised. That was my capacity.
Okay. Is it also true, and I know I'm speaking out of line in a sense here, but is it also true that you had a engagement, or not engagement, but a relationship lusting over the sheriff here while you were sheriff of this town?
Objection, Your Honor.
No, I'll answer this.
Sustained. No, sustained. No relevance whatsoever.
Well, I do believe it causes relevance.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that would make Mr. Jensen form an opinion based on his actual relationship with Faith and everything else. I do believe that some will fabricate things. They're in love, and
My
Mr.
objection.
Jensen's obviously in
No,
love.
the objection is still sustained. Completely irrelevant to this.
I'll ask one further question. Mr. Jensen, whenever the combat started, you said I ran up the stairs, and you left out a very valid point. That was, you put rounds in me and obviously finished me off, and I understand that. But how did you get shot?
I had received multiple wounds from both your predominantly your firearms. Now
So
you
were
had
you
made a point.
Were you
Hold on.
involved in crossfire from the sheriff?
I would say no, because at
Well-
no point was I in front of the sheriff. The mayor was behind bars with no firearms, so he would not be able to fire. And at no point, except for climbing the stairs, was Faith ever in front of me. There was no crossfire being had.
Now, Mr. Jensen, I do apologize, but it does sound like you're contradicting yourself when you say a predominant amount of the shots came from. That would leave the judge and the court to believe other shots came from someone else. Is that what I'm hearing?
What you are hearing is what you choose to hear.
No, sir, I'm hearing the English language, and I'm very capable of understanding it. I'm asking you if a dominant amount of the shots came from. That means that there were other shots that did not, and that was your official, correct? Your Honor, no further questions.
Cross-examination? Any follow-up?
No.
Alright. Mr. Jensen, you can have a seat. Prosecution, do you have any other statements that you wish to present?
No.
statement?
That's my last witness. Oh, I do have a witness statement, yes, from RJ.
Alright, if you can hand that to the bailiff. There is no objection. I will read this out loud for the court. On February 16th, I was asked by the mayor to check on their daughter. When I arrived back at the sheriff's office, I could hear Mr. Walker talking to Sheriff Payne and Mayor Payne. Next thing I knew, I heard shots ring out from inside. I opened the door and Lieutenant Steve and myself entered, guns drawn. Mr. Walker was on the stairs, leading upstairs, shooting down at Sheriff Payne and Deputy Jensen. When I got up to the second floor, Sheriff Payne and Deputy Jensen were down, as well as the suspect, R.J. Rodero. Alright. Is that all from the prosecution?
Yes.
Alright, Mr. Walker? Do you have any witnesses?
No, ma'am, it was just me.
I'll allow you to give a testimony if you wish, but do understand that if you do take the stand and give your version of events, Ms. Faith does have the opportunity to cross-examine you. Would you like that opportunity?
That'd be fine, Your Honor.
Alright, come take this seat then.
Do I need to be sworn in, or?
You'll be
Yes,
treated
Lieutenant.
as any other witness.
State your name for the court.
Chris Walker?
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
God.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So help me God. Yes.
You may begin your statement.
My statement, as including, when I became the deputy of the, I was approached by Sheriff Payne, Faith Payne, that the income that she was providing her family, which Mr. Mayor Payne, was not substantial as sheriff, and she wanted things to increase financial prosperity of Silverton. When I denied that,
Objection, Your Honor.
altercation all started.
On what grounds? This is his statement.
Relevance, yes, but this is pertaining to the previous case at hand that you've already been privy to, and this has nothing to do with this case.
This is an ending statement, sir.
This is his testimony as to the events of that night.
Very well.
Now, the mayor and Miss Payne, the sheriff, have been very kind to me up until that point, that I would not do the actions that they were asking me to do to regain the financial stability of Silverton. At that point, the issues started happening, and it led up into being shot in the street by the mayor himself in the back, critically wounded, being cared for, and when I walked into the sheriff's office to approach the mayor to find out
Objection,
why
Your
he
Honor.
was being that way.
On what grounds?
He was not critically wounded, or I would be hung.
Your Honor, I was shot 6 times in the back. I believe that that does count as...
That is pretty severe. Though our definition of critical can be a little different.
Yes, ma'am.
But 6 times is severe. That is for sure. You may continue.
when I walked into the sheriff's office to confront the mayor on why he did that to me over, from my opinion, a silly rumor that his wife had put out. I was then I got fired on by the sheriff because I guess that she didn't want him to understand that she was lying about the incident that happened the previous night. At that point, I defended myself against both her and Jensen, I guess Deputy Jensen. At which point, I guess Lieutenant Steve outside, who never saw the incident occurring, came in. I guess I was arrested. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Faith, do you have questions for the witness?
No, ma'am, I don't.
All right, if there is nothing else, you may have a seat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you have anyone to speak on your behalf as a witness that you wish to call at this time besides yourself?
Me?
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, I would actually like to call the mayor.
He has the right to refuse if he wishes to take.
I'll
More
take
than
the
welcome.
stand. That's fine.
All right.
Whoops, forgot.
Fine.
It's the other stairs.
State your name for the court.
William Payne.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Payne, first off,
Yeah,
I'd like to
just-
thank you for giving me the opportunity to work as a deputy in your town for the small time I did it. But secondly, I would like to ask you a few questions. One of which being,
Okay.
how long have you actually been married, Faith?
I'm sorry. I had a bug in my ear. What was that again?
How long have you been married with Miss Faith?
As of today, it will be 5 days now.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
We've known each other longer than that, obviously.
Would you say month, 2 months, or?
I don't recall the amount of time that's passed, but we've known each other very shortly after I even came into county, so I don't know exactly how much time that was.
Understand. Would you say that you guys are head over heels with each other?
I would say so.
The reason I'm asking these questions, Your
should
Honor,
be.
is I understand you got super upset at me. It ended up with me getting 6 rounds in my back. Do you
Not
feel
all of them were in your
like-
back, sir.
Okay, well, most of them were in my back. But during that event, you were acting out of lust, correct? Out of your love for your wife?
No, not lust, sir. It was defending my wife.
Okay, out of love for your wife, you shot a man 6 times in the street of Silverton, correct?
A man who was antagonizing the people of the town, making threats against my wife, my family, and this town. Yes, sir, I did. And I've been tried for that. What is your point?
If you don't mind answering just yes or no questions when they're yes or no, that'd be amazing.
But sometimes yes or no doesn't qualify.
Now, leading up to that question, would you believe that Faith has as much passion for y'all's relationship as you do?
Would sure hope so.
So that passion
Yes,
may
sorry,
actually lead her
yes.
to that passion may lead her to the exact same actions you did in the streets of Silverton in front of the bank whenever you shot a man 6 times over your wife. Is that correct?
I don't believe so, actually. She's more level-headed than I am, and I think if she was going to do that, she would have done it before I did it, actually.
No, but seeing her husband imprisoned as the sheriff of the town may have set her off. Is that? I mean, we can both.
I don't think. I mean,
There's a lot of thinking going on, but not a lot
I
of
went
knowing.
in willingly. I was the one who instructed them to arrest me. I made sure they got a judge there to try me, and I had the keys to the cell the entire time, yet chose not to use them. So, no, I don't think she would have had any ill will towards that because I made my bed and I chose to lay in it.
So you weren't properly searched before him being imprisoned?
Oh, I was searched. I had no weapons. I made
But you
that
had the
jail
keys
cell,
to the
sir.
cell?
Yeah.
So the law in Silverton allowed them to imprison a mayor that had the keys to the cell the entire time?
I was just being detained at the time.
Are you aware of what detain means?
Yeah, and I was definitely detained. I wasn't going around and breeding my cows like I would have rather been doing. I was sleeping in a rather uncomfortable bed that I really didn't like, and didn't get to raid my pantry to eat what I wanted. So yeah, I would consider it pretty detained.
Your Honor, I don't consider it being detained when you have keys to the cell.
No, but
But-
I do want to know where this questioning is going. Can we get to the events of the case, please?
Yes, ma'am. The events of the case are actually leading up to what I feel, and this is the honest God truth, and what I know is the law and the mayorship of Silver is, in my understanding of what I've seen so far, extremely corrupt. It doesn't surprise me at all that they would actually gun me down when I talk to the mayor. This stuff
Mr.
happened.
Walker, I'm going to advise you that you're cross-examining a witness right now. You gave your testimony.
No further
Can
questions.
we... Miss Faith, you're a witness?
I don't have any questions.
Alright.
Can I step down, Your Honor?
Mayor Payne, you may step down. And then we'll commence with the closing arguments. Miss Faith, you may begin.
Your Honor, I believe that we have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that this man has committed the crime he is accused of and should be held to the fullest extent.
Is that it?
Yep.
Alright. Mr. Walker, your closing argument?
Your Honor, during this trial, I've heard the word "I think," and he may have, and everything else more times than I've heard anyone say that they know anything. Besides the testimony from her lusting ex-sheriff, I have not heard anyone say that I was the one that pulled the trigger first. I could have been defending myself, and I was defending. There's no testimony to show who shot the first round in this situation. And I would just like the court to know that I don't think anything, and I know exactly what happened. Fortunately, I was taken advantage of in this situation, and when I would not comply with their unlawful orders, I was taken out and removed from the town immediately. And I don't think it was enough just to have me be a citizen again. I had to actually be forcefully taken out and removed. That, to me, it stinks of corruption. Silverton is just absolute worst. That's all, Your Honor.
Alright. If there is nothing else, I will now retire to the judge's chambers in order to
Your Honor,
Give
may I please
thought.
say something?
Who just said that?
Jensen, back here, if I may.
The
Your
court
Honor, I
case
don't
is
see
over.
what official cast. Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, as both sides have rested their case and you did have your time on the stand, any further comments are now put to a stop.
Everybody should get out and stretch your legs.
Yep, adults be weird.
All rise.
I do have a few words to say, Mr. Walker, but first of all, I am going to inform you that I have found you guilty of assault with a deadly weapon
Yes, ma'am.
of the events of last night. Now, between the two of you, I don't know what the fuck is going on between all y'all, but y'all gotta get your heads out of your fucking asses.
Can I say a
If
few
it
words,
really
ma'am?
if it really starts coming, I'm speaking. Get your ass down. Now, if y'all really have a problem with each other, I don't normally condemn this, don't it? But you want to do it legally, fucking have a duel.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop shooting up each other. Now, your punishment, Mr. Walker. Your firearms from the events of last night are confiscated for destruction. You are also banned from the town of Silverton for 3 days. Unless it's official bank hours, and you need to conduct official bank business. Beyond that, your face better not be seen around the town. 3 days. Are we clear?
Crystal?
Court's adjourned.
He doesn't have to promise me.
Oh, I'm pretty
What
sure
does
I
that
made
mean?
that quite clear.
It's not funny, Nathan. I'm gonna go get sand.